Hello everyone, this is D2866. Today, we continue with Sergey. Master Xie. This time, we're assembling a 1992 MAN D2866 engine. The engine displacement is 12L with 460 horsepower. During the previous disassembly, we found some corrosion on the steel sleeve seal ring. So, we'll reprocess this area. After processing, we also need to measure, after installing the steel sleeve, whether the steel sleeve protrudes from the cylinder block surface. Does the data meet the requirements? If it meets the requirements, we can start the following assembly work. All the steel liner pistons are replaced. Here, we assemble the piston and connecting rod. It's sprayed with initial assembly oil. Spray it on all connection points. Then push in the piston pin. After pushing in the piston pin, there are also retaining clips on both sides. Thus, the piston connecting rod is assembled. Here, we install the cylinder block sealing ring. This is also called a water stop ring. It's mainly used in conjunction with the steel liner, because it's a wet steel liner. After installing the sealing ring, we also need to apply some lubricating oil to the surface. This way, the sealing ring won't deform when pressing down the steel liner, because water leakage will occur if the sealing ring deforms. When pressing down like this, it's done in one go. If you don't press it smoothly, it's best to take the steel liner out, then recheck the sealing ring inside, and reapply some oil. Finally, reinstall it. Here, we're preparing to install the crankshaft. But before installing the crankshaft, we still need to install the bearing shells. Clean all the positions completely. Here, the tappet is being installed. Then the tappet. The push rod will also be installed on top. Here, the bearing shells are being installed. This engine doesn't need thrust washers, because the bearing shells have thrust faces directly. This is also called a thrust bearing shell. If there's no thrust structure on both sides, separate thrust washers need to be installed. Here we're preparing to install the camshaft. Oil is sprayed on it as well. After pushing in the camshaft, we need to rotate and test it. See if it's very smooth. Next is installing the crankshaft. All positions are still sprayed with assembly oil. If assembly oil isn't used, new engine oil can also be used as a substitute. Align the timing. Here, the crankshaft end cover bearing shells are still sprayed with assembly oil. Then install the end cover. At this time, it is also necessary to tighten the bolts. When tightening the bolts, it is necessary to apply torque according to the torque standard, and then rotate the angle. This is also called the torque plus angle method. Some also need to be rotated back after rotating a certain angle. Master Xie has made the marks. Then you can rotate 90 degrees according to this mark. Here the sealing rings are installed. Then install the cover. Now, we can install the flywheel on the outside. His previous flywheel was already scrapped. Then install the bushing. Inside, bearings also need to be installed. If it's not easy to install something like this, then it definitely needs to be soaked in liquid nitrogen. When installing that bushing, it's best to heat it with oil. Just hesitate. Here, we install the engine bracket. Flip it over. Stand it up. This makes the piston installation more convenient. All the locations were sprayed with cleaning agent. Then, I used compressed air to blow it clean. Finally, when installing the small bearing shells, I still spray initial assembly oil. Then, I squeezed lubricating oil into each cylinder sleeve. Then push in the piston. Before pushing in the piston, you also need to adjust the opening angle of the piston rings. After adjustment, use a ring compressor to tighten it. Finally, push the entire piston assembly into the engine cylinder block. Here, we tighten the connecting rod end cap. Torque should still be applied when tightening each set. And also use the torque plus angle method. And after completing all this tightening work, you still need to test whether the crankshaft can operate normally. Here, we're installing the engine's oil nozzles. In a previous case, the oil nozzles were only screwed on, not tightened. Master Xie and his team discovered this during disassembly. Therefore, when installing these components, they install them in sequence. They don't install one component, then leave without tightening it, and move on to the next. Here, sealant has been applied. However, this vehicle uses a gasket for the oil pan installation. This is the air compressor. The air compressor also has connecting rods and pistons. The mating surfaces still use sealant. This is also an old machine. It's been over 30 years. There's no need to chase after some original gaskets. Using sealant is a time-saving and convenient method. Some engine oil is also applied inside the oil pump as lubrication, because after these things were taken apart earlier, they were cleaned with high-pressure cleaning to prevent some moisture from remaining inside. Especially when installing the turbocharger, you need to run the turbocharger in advance. Lubricate it in advance. You can't just, after installing it in the car, then start it directly. That way, the turbocharger is prone to burning out. This side is installing all the guide wheels. This side is preparing the oil filter. Here we install the oil cooler. Found the necessary bolts in a bunch of boxes. Sergey explained before that the bolts in these boxes are mixed. He said that if you do it long enough, you naturally know where each bolt needs to be installed. Practice makes perfect. If you really can't tell, then it's best to sort them out when cleaning the bolts. Here we need to do valve grinding. When replacing the valves, you must do this grinding step. After installing the valve seals, it's time to install the springs and valve locks. Finally, press down with a special tool, and the locks can directly lock the valve. Here, all the cylinder heads are arranged. When they disassemble them, there's actually a habit. That is, each cylinder, in its corresponding position, will be marked with a steel punch. This way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is sorted. If you don't make this mark, you might mix up the order during subsequent installation. As for standard parts, it doesn't matter if you mix them up, but after the parts are assembled and installed on the vehicle, it's best to install them back in the position they were removed from. Install them back in that position. Connecting bolts are all replaced with new ones, like these connecting bolts. If you don't replace them, once or twice is okay. If they're used for a long time, these bolts will also stretch and deform. Here, Master Xie is installing the exhaust manifold. When installing the exhaust manifold, it's actually very simple. You put the gasket on, then put the exhaust manifold on, and finally, tighten the bolts. But Master Xie encountered a small problem during the installation, because while he was tightening a bolt, one of the bolts snapped. You can see, these bolts are still the old ones. So, here, he could only take a step to remove the broken bolt. Originally, I thought removing this broken bolt would be troublesome. It would also require removing the entire cylinder, then weld nuts and do a series of operations. But Master Xie first used a small punch to knock it down. Found that, it's okay. It can be hammered and turned. So, he slowly hammered it down. And after turning it little by little, it slowly came out. This is considered to be lucky. If it's not so lucky, then you can only re-weld it. What's next? Perhaps the entire cylinder head still needs to be done. Subsequent repair work. After all, you need to grind this end face. While assembling this engine, another car's engine was also inspected, and when removing the oil pan, metal debris was found underneath. Oh, this is good too. Here's work. It is estimated that this engine also needs to be disassembled. After disassembly, it also needs to be overhauled. This should be from the position of a bearing being worn off. Here is where the valves on the fuel lines connect. They haven't been installed yet. First, install the push rods. The bottom of this push rod is where we installed the tappets earlier. Many friends also like to call this thing a chopstick. The rocker arm connects to its upper end. This engine only has a 2-valve design, so it doesn't need a bridge. If it's a 4-valve design, 2 intake valves, 2 exhaust valves, then it definitely needs a bridge in the middle to keep the 2 valves opening and closing simultaneously. Now, many engines have a 4-valve design. Engines with this kind of 2-valve design are generally older. Install all the belts. Here's the refurbished turbocharger. According to Master Xie, the refurbishment of this turbocharger cost about $500. Many friends will say, hey, why are Master Xie's videos using US dollars? It should be Russian rubles. But Master Xie's video is actually for the whole world. So he uses a more universal unit. That is, using US dollars. So everyone can easily convert it to their familiar currency. Like, for us, you say simply, it's 6 point something. The simplest way is to directly calculate it as 70%. It's probably not much less. Here, we're installing the thermostat. It's crucial to ensure the thermostat is installed in the correct direction. When we talk about this, many friends treat it as a joke. But with thermostats, there are definitely mechanics who are careless and install them incorrectly. Previously, when Master Xie was disassembling an engine, the thermostat was installed incorrectly. Then he fiercely ridiculed his colleagues. After the turbocharger is installed, the oil hoses on it haven't been connected yet. Later, before connecting the hoses, you must first add some oil. Then manually rotate the turbocharger. Don't think that after adding this oil, you don't need to do anything about it, and then immediately start the engine. This way, its floating bearings haven't been adequately lubricated. If it started recklessly, the turbocharger might burn out. Master Xie, for example, rotates it manually. After lubricating it, he also simply blew it with compressed air. This allows the floating bearing to rotate faster. But the force of his blowing is far less than the normal operation of a turbocharger. The speed is much lower. Here, he is adjusting the valve clearance. After adjusting the valve clearance, he is preparing to install the fuel injectors. There are gaskets inside now. When Master Xie and his team are overhauling the engine, they will send the fuel injectors removed from the original vehicle to be tested. If the testing is qualified, they will continue to use them. If the data of some individual ones, the entire fuel injection volume is unstable, then just replace it directly. Here, the valve cover has been installed. Here, the oil pipes are connected. Here is the intake. Now, the entire engine is about 80% complete. Here, the intake system and the turbocharger are connected. The front cooling fan. Here, the fuel filter is being installed. A lot of friends have been discussing this. They say that even now, Russia can still buy machines from Europe. Anyway, there are always people making money. There are always resourceful people who can get things in. Like them, importing this kind of scrap metal from decades ago. Because when it arrives, it's just a pile of scrap metal. The engines are all in a scrapped state. This is even more unimpeded. Now, we're installing the high-pressure fuel pump. Perhaps many old drivers still fondly remember the old Euro 2 and Euro 3 generation engines. They were indeed very practical, purely mechanical, unlike today with so many electronic components. Even the exhaust pipes have so many electronic components. Here we have the clutch installed, because after finishing it, this thing will be installed in the vehicle. From a pile of loose parts scattered everywhere, then to a complete engine. When Master Xie was assembling this machine, he also felt like, this job is really disgusting. It almost made me want to throw up. After all, who does this kind of work every day? It's very complicated and very tiring. There will be times when you get frustrated. Well, next is installing the engine in the vehicle. And after installing it, we'll need to test it to see if it can start normally. This small forklift is really convenient. It's small, and it's more flexible to operate on the site. That's all for today's video. I still hope that friends who like this video can give it more likes. Comment, follow and collect. Especially if you've watched this far. It would be great if you could give it more likes. Thank you all for your help. See you next time.